Alright, so what I've done is I have reduced the number of subframes on keyframe 11 all up in here. I knocked it back down to 500, and if we look at this, part of this is keyframe 10, and well, the first half is keyframe 10. The second half of this motion is keyframe 11. I have something that is similar to the speed. All right, so let's recap this. All right. So in previous sessions, I said if I want to make a long distance forward motion, I don't have the tools here in the Mandelbulb 3D to figure out how many forward steps I should have. I just don't have, I don't have the data. I don't have the way to do this. So I have a couple options. One is, and I don't want it, well, all right, one option is you don't care about the speed increase or decrease. You don't care about it. You just let it go. That's okay. That's okay. It's not what I want to do. I don't consider that a viable option in our project here today. The other way to do this is just make the move and then go to, when you get into your video editor, adjust the speed of that animation sequence, adjust it accordingly, and match it up. In this case, match it up with your preceding animation sequence. And the other option was for me to modify the number of subframes on that keyframe. Now, this worked out pretty good, actually. I have a fairly consistent speed. I can tell it's a little slower. I could probably go a little bit faster. Maybe 700 might be a better one there. But we don't need to keep playing with this because you get the point. And the point is that when you're in a situation where you want to have a forward speed which is consistent from one animation sequence to the next, well, you have to just kind of, you got to use some imagination as to how, when and how you can actually get those speeds to match up. Let me just add that this is one of the artifacts of the approach of designing your animation, an animation sequence at a time. This is just the way it is. Now, if I wasn't thinking, break up my animation into sequences and test them and make sure I'm good before I move forward. And you know, if I had 30 or so keyframes up there and I found a speed difference like that, well, I could fix it in the video editor, but I'm kind of creating more work for myself than I really need to. So what I've done here is I have used the subframe count to get me close, and then I can tweak it in the video editor. All right? Okay. All right. I think we're in pretty good shape there. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to exit this preview and see if we can move ahead. There we go. So back down to my documentation here. I'm going to leave this with a question mark because I really don't know how much forward I took there, but I do know I'm close. Now what I can do is round out my documentation, all right, by taking a look at, okay, good. So this is going to take me, right, okay, this is going to take me to, from 1801 subframe count to 2300. So I got this, kind of make my documentation a little bit more complete. Now for me, that is a move sequence. That's it. That's a move sequence. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this, where are we? Session 119. And I'm going to call that 119 at keyframe. All right, well, we're actually at, well, we've completed keyframe 11, so I'm going to leave it that. So there we go. So I saved it. I saved my animation. If something goes wrong, it's no big deal. I don't save the project because I'm only modifying the animation. So where do we go from here? Now, well, one thing we can do, and probably should, matter of fact, I'll do it when we break this session. I'll render a preview of the entire animation from keyframe 1 all the way to the last, and we'll take a kind of a big look at it. Now, what are we going to do next? Okay. Yeah, and I'm trying to pick animation moves where I can give you some tips and tricks as to how to go about animating. All right. Well, actually, we're animating through the scene. All right. So, what would be an interesting next animation sequence? I'll tell you what. I'm going to come up to my notes here, and I'm going to say forward long. Yeah, that's good. Forward long. Now, why don't we do, let's do, I'm thinking let's do another right-hand, a banking right-hand turn. I'll tell you why. Because I think we're getting pretty close to these objects right here. And I'm thinking we can kind of fly along and turn away from those. Now let's take this keyframe, which is where we left off, and we push that up to the animator. Let's push that over to main so we can see a better view of it. Well, okay, if I do my banking right-hand turn, I'm probably going to dive right into this thing, all right? Geez, it's almost like we should do another forward to get past these objects here, huh? Huh? Yeah, that's what we need to do. We need to do another forward. Well, what we could do, why don't we do a forward and we do a roll? Let's do a barrel roll. Hey, why not? Why not? We get to do what we want. All right, forward. All right, with barrel roll. If I could spell barrel roll. All right, let's call that a 360. A 360. All the way around. Okay. Let's think about. Let's plan it. Let's plan this now. All right. So, okay, I'm not going to put the keyframes in just the keyframe numbers in just yet. I just want to think about how we're going to do this. So we're going to do a forward, and we are going to do. We don't want to do big, huge forwards on this. So we're going to do the 3-step times 200, because that worked in our first animation sequence. There's no slide down or up or left or right. There's no looking. I'm rolling. Which way you want to roll? Do you want to roll clockwise or counterclockwise? Yeah? All right. Clockwise it is. I'm going to roll clockwise, and I like this roll up here, 1 times 5. You see, one of the values of documenting your work like this as you go is you can refer to it and say, hey, that was a pretty cool move. I like that move. And you go back up there and you say, I like it. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Now, we don't know how many degrees that is. Well, maybe we do actually. If we come back to our navigator, It says looking plus rolling angle. So is that 5 degrees? All right, can I trust that that's 5 degrees? Let's assume that I can trust that it's 5 degrees. And in which case, if I want to do a 360, I want these number of steps or keyframes are going to be the number of times that 5 goes into 360. Well, I don't want to wind up coming back out of the barrel roll and be a little slightly angled. So I'm going to do 6 degrees. Nobody will know the difference. All right. If I do 6 degrees, all right. So okay, the number of keyframes is going to bring me right back to. All right, right back to level again. Okay, good. I'll see you in the next session, and we'll continue this. We're going to do a straight 360 barrel roll. That should be interesting. All right, I'll see you in the next session.